English languages. And I'm so happy today to have a very special friend, William Tongsiri. I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly, forgive me. But today, me and William are going to talk about cultural awareness, guys. Before I start, if you do need an interpreter, that make good work for you, I would let William to introduce himself and give you the languages that he speaks. Please go ahead, my dear.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Well, my name is William, and I do Thai, Lao, and English. So I'm specialized in three languages, and I do from medical and government and business. And yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy and excited to have you. Thank you for being here. So, I am so excited to start this new project called Cultural Awareness, and I really hope that I can have more of you guys, more guests here in my YouTube channel, that we're going to talk about cultural awareness and cultural differences. And the reason why I make this video is because we are trained by HIPAA and the Californian best practices and best protocols for interpreters about to constantly evolve and be more and more culturally aware. But unfortunately, there is no education about cultural differences and what is appropriate and what not in different cultures. Today in this video, you are gonna listen about my culture, which is Bulgarian, and his culture, which is Thai. Is that correct?
Yes, Thai.
Hi, and what is appropriate and what not. And I would like to invite many of you to do this type of videos with me, sharing about your culture. So I would call this video 10 things considering rude or inappropriate or not rude in your culture. And the number one thing, it's I will call it timing, or what is considered to be on time, early, or what's considering being late for an appointment. And the first part, I'm going to talk about friends. In my country, which is Bulgarian, Eastern Europe, it's considered that you are on time if you're 5 minutes early, and it's considered that there is a 15 minutes of grace period, which means you can be late up to 15 minutes, and that is kind of excusable. Although it's not okay for gentlemen to be late that much, it could be excused if there is some kind of exceptional circumstances, but it's kind of almost normal for ladies to be at least 10 minutes late. If a gentleman, though, it's a late for a friend appointment or whatsoever, they said first 5 minutes you wait for yourself and for respect. The second 5 minutes you wait for the other person, and the last 5 minutes you wait from stupidity, which means that if somebody hasn't show up in 10 minutes, they probably wouldn't show in 15. So this is considered on time or okay being late in my culture. Although in business meeting, it's in time or on time mean to be 5 minutes early. If you're not early, if you come exactly on the dot, it's considered that you are late. So in business is strict, you cannot be late at all. Late, it's coming on the dot of the clock on time, so you have to be always early. And if you're gonna be late, even which mean not coming 5 minutes early, you have to call and let them know. And now you can share about you, William. Tell me how is in your
Mhm.
culture.
Yeah, well, from Thailand, it's very different between just friend setting and from like business standpoint. So for friend, it's actually very acceptable to be late, and I would say that rarely anyone ever say they're going to meet at 12 and actually show up at 12. Is usually at least 10 minutes late or 15-minute late, especially if it's a big group of people. If you tell them to meet at 12, probably around 12:30 everyone would, like, majority of people would show up, right? So yeah, it's not that strict in Thai to be late. If you show up and people are not there, it's kind of expected that they're just on their way there. And maybe it could have like to attribute it because of, like, in Bangkok, transport transportation system is not really good too. A lot of traffic, a lot of you know things that could like delay someone time. So in personal setting, being late is normal. But in business, it is more about punctuality. So yeah, like you're supposed to, do like the standard, be a little bit early or be on time. If you're late, then and you're late, all right? Um, but yeah, for business, it's not really okay to be late, but I mean, you can be a little bit late. Yeah,
It's kind of okay.
yeah.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing. The number two question is called dress code, and this is also very bizarre in my country. And I have been coming out of my cultural because I am in America and I've been traveling to many countries and I had to change my dress code. So when I talk about dress code, is how is okay to dress when you go in a dinner with friends, and if it's okay to wear casual. In my country, if you wear leggings, even with colleagues from the university where you're gonna celebrate something, everybody will look at you and think that you have some kind of problem. Like it's so used to, or so it's kind of normal, and it's important that you dress something beautiful, something elegant, that you make yourself beautiful and you look really really well. You have a makeup, of course. You can wear something sexy, is kind of must. You gotta look on your top with friends. Talking about dress code with in a business field, there is few things that are considered bad for ladies, and one of these is if you have to wear something beautiful but not too short, but it's okay to wear a décolleté and show a little bit of cleavage, show a little bit of your breast. This is kind of considered beautiful and kind of aristocratic. It's absolutely yes to wear heels in a business meeting for a woman, and a skirt. This is classical, it looks good. If you go in a smaller places, if you wear a red lipstick, is considered like you're not very serious. So you cannot wear a strong lipstick in a business meeting in Eastern Europe. It look like you are a street person. You know what I mean? About the men's, they cannot, or it's not like they cannot, but they have to have their beard cure, which means the beard cannot be like all over the place. If you have it, you have to be trim and short and like in a very good shape. And also it's very important to have a good haircut and not have any hair on the neck or something like that. This is, I don't know why it's so important. If you go to very low register places, you're gonna see many men's, and many people will wear these Adidas sport clothes with the white shoes, like Nikes, and this is gonna be considered like so cool. But I'm only talking about a really low register, and if somebody show up dressed like this in a business meeting, everybody will underestimate this person and look them as a little bit level below, and is not gonna be taken seriously. Tell me about the dress code of your culture. Is there something that you cannot, and so on, ladies and gentlemen, and how it's like with friends?
hmm Um, well, in Thailand, like you said, I don't think anyone in Thailand wear yoga pants unless they do yoga. So yeah, you would not, walk on the street and see people wear Nike or Adidas or any sport pants. And that's actually the first thing I noticed when I came to the US is that especially guys, so many guys wear sport pants or sport shorts. Um, in Thailand, you only wear that when you play sports, or like during the practice, or if you're sleeping. Yeah, in Thailand is a little bit more kind of like conservative country. So no, if you're a woman, no cleavage or anything like that. You're supposed to kind of cover up. Like Thailand is also a Buddhist um, country, so kind of like modesty, I guess. The
I
word
know the
for it.
culture of the monks that you have to cover for respect of their
Yeah.
decision to stay in castity and so on. So which is very beautiful. I spent some times in these monastery places where we had monks and they make sure all the women's were covered, which was very, I think it's very respectful and beautiful to not show off yourself like just
Yeah, I
like
think.
that. I think this is a great respect to people that try
Mhm.
to build some better future. And so I didn't know that you guys are Buddhist. So also the religion also in this case reflect how, because in my country, because of the religion point of view, if you wear the red lipstick, it's considered like not nice. You know, you gotta be modest if you want to put something.
Yeah, and in Thailand for the makeup, like for a woman, then not a lot. Like you're not supposed to wear a lot of makeup. Um, I can see this a little bit like generational device. If you're a little bit older, like 40, 50, then your makeup would be a little bit heavier, like more red lipsticks, something like that. But if you're younger and regardless of is it business, um, it's supposed
Or
to be
with
more
friends. Yeah.
less, right? And with friends, even lesser. Um, I don't know, and it really depends too, right? Like when I go to school in Thailand, I don't think you even allowed to wear makeup.
Oh wow,
Or
this is so interesting.
yeah,
In my country used to be like that until we had I when I was 11 there was a revolution and then we were able to do it and it was like such a transgression, you know, because it was forbidden and I remember my best friends will put all this lipstick and the teacher will be so upset because in the teacher hand
yeah.
still can forbid you to do it. But so you were saying about dress code. So when you talk about modesty, you mean that the ladies don't wear dresses, they have to wear pants in business meeting?
Um, I mean they can wear a skirt, but I don't really remember a lot, but like in even in school or in business, they literally show you like a man and a woman how you're supposed to dress. So if you're a lady, you're supposed to have
Follow.
your skirt over your knee. It
Mm-hmm.
cannot be too short. Like in America, they said, how like if you put your hand down, your skirt supposed to hit your hand, right? In Thailand, that's way too short. It's supposed to be all over, at least like half the knee. In
Okay.
business setting, and just conservatively, in Thailand,
Is
yeah,
considered a good quality. This means that
yeah,
you're like a good person and worthy and valuable and so on.
yeah. So not too flashy,
Yeah,
like
and
all black kind of suit and tie, or in the woman case, just any.
monotone, monochrome color.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Let's talk about money talk. We had a small money talk with you, and I was amused yesterday when we chat on the phone
Yeah.
because most of the people will have kind of hard time talking about money. So I think that this come also from our cultures, which we didn't know, but I think they're somewhat similar in this topic. In
Mhm.
my country, you can talk about money openly with your friends. If you have problems, if you need, if you don't need, if you're just struggling, it's normal kind of thing to share, especially if you sit and have a coffee or whatsoever, right? Um, Also, if you go in a low register, there would be a lot of people that will brag about money. Oh, I'm so rich, I do so much money. You're gonna have these experiences as well, which are really funny. And a lot of men try to impress women talking about the money talk, you know what I mean? Which I notice here in America, in a black community is also used as a way to fascinate a lady talking about how much money the man do, even he doesn't do it realistically. So this is some kind of also very interesting thing. I would be very curious to make an interview of a Native American person to talk about this. But in business, so there is few different things in Bulgaria. Depends of which kind of ethnia you're making business with. Discussing money is kind of normal, and very often you stipulate something by words, but in a contract, it's something else. Which means that when the conditions start to change from oral agreement to the written, normally the prices are lower. It's also very normal to my culture to try to negotiate the price. Is considered very normal, and is not considered normal to just like agree to the first number. I mean, there is a special market that you would go, and also in Istanbul, in Turkish culture as well, they have this place called Kapalı Çarşı where you gonna have to try to put the price down. which is something absolutely unacceptable here. But I gotta say now that in the biggest city, if you go to the supermarket, you cannot put the price down of the shoes or whatsoever you buy. But in my culture, talking about the negotiations on a higher level, it's kind of normal to kind of negotiate and try to get a better deal or say, okay, I give you that. So to try to meet in the middle. We always gonna try to meet in the middle. This is more in my culture kind of type of thing. Can you tell me about your
Mhm.
culture, William?
Yeah. Well, in Thailand, it's really open about money. Like you can talk about money, but not just to your friend, like people in general, stranger, your boss. It's not really kind of secretive.
Uh-huh.
Um, Actually, I think in Thailand, about 5, 6 years ago, they were trying to put your salary on your national ID card and your job. Yeah, I don't know for what reason. Yeah, but I don't think that's the kind of actually went through, but it was like they were thinking of doing it. But yeah,
Oh.
so yeah, people talk about money all the time, and it's something that's fine, which is not the same in America. It's really like, kind of like, oh, you can't share your salary for some
Yeah,
reason.
mind your own business
Yeah,
kind of thing. And
I
most
know.
of the people, if they talk, I speak with a lot of interpreters, honestly.
Uh-huh.
And I know the range gaps. I know how much other companies pay. I have seen how much they are contracted different languages
Yeah.
for. And when I chat, I remember I chat with somebody that was speaking Spanish, and they give me, oh yeah, I want to take $50 an hour, when the medium payment for Spanish is 20-25, and if you take 30 is a good deal, because
Yeah.
the Spanish is, everybody speaks Spanish basically. There's so many people that speak it, that competition is so high that you cannot
Yeah.
beat the price literally. And the weird thing that I find in linguistic, most of these interpreters, they will try to pretend that they take more than they actually do, which I don't know why is that.
I think maybe like, cause especially like people don't share with each other like how much they make, right? And it's not just.
Do you think it's
And
some kind of a shaming or something here in America, that we want to show that we do more, or we want to show that we are worthy because everything is money here, or?
Possibly. I mean, I remember in my job, right, I meet this Thai person. She's in my same class. And like the first time we talk, I was like, how much you make? Right? I want to make sure we make the same amount, something like that, right? And she
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, this is how much. I was like, oh, okay, good. They tell us the same thing.
So, but
Right?
what if you discover that you get paid more? I
And
don't
then,
ask them because I know I am more educated. I have 3 masters.
uh,
So if I ask another person how much do you get paid, and I know I have 35 certifications, I don't know how many classes and how many years of university. And if they discover that I get paid more, they can get hurt.
I mean, I would be like, oh, but if I discovered I got paid less, the first thing I would do is email
That
the
would be
company.
painful.
Yeah, but I mean, then people realize though that like people, like company want you to keep it a secret because they don't want people to complain and get the raise that they deserve. So if people actually talk about it, then we're like, why am I getting less? And then the company have to pay you more, right? And then they don't want that. So it's better to ask about salary regardless of if you found out that you get paid the same, less or more.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's a good thing
yeah,
to share. You can always have an idea how much is the market, talking with different professionals in your area. Okay, order out. So I am trying to squeeze the video because we have a certain time ability to
yeah.
record on Zoom. I don't know if you know that.
Oh,
So order out. How look like in your culture to order a beer or wine or liquor or drink during lunch or during night? For
mhm.
example, in my country during the day, if you order like a hard liquor and it's not weekend day, or you order a beer or anything, you look like basically you're alcoholic. Even if you never do it, just the fact that you're gonna order during the day, it makes you look really bad. If a man order during the day, it's like no alcoholic person that have a problem with alcohol during the night or during the dinner is considered fine and is considered okay and raffinate and all these kind of things, and it's not a problem. On a business setting, never ever ever is considered okay to order a drink, even a light drink, during a day, during a business meeting, or in general, like while you're working. This is seen so bad. And if somebody see you have a sip of something, they will not do business with you because it's considered really bad. uh, at night, if you're in a business party or congress, they make a lot, they will pour you with tons of alcohol, and this is perfectly fine. You can get drunk and wasted, and this is completely okay, but never during the day. The only exception that they make or may offer a champagne, it's when they close a very huge contract and you all celebrate. And that's the only exceptions. Tell me about your country. How is that something about alcohol? How is that seen and
In Thai, it's actually illegal at certain time to sell alcohol.
oh,
Um, yeah, they actually said. I was starting to look it up. Let me see. I see the alcohol selling time is between 11 to 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. to midnight only. So after that hour, store cannot sell alcohol. And it was crazy. Last time I went visit Thailand, there's actually police standing at the alcohol kind of, you know, aisle. It's like that's weird. Like there's a better thing to do than guarding the alcohol. But yeah, and was in business, especially in sales, it's perfectly fine to. It's actually pretty normal to like at a sales meeting to go to a bar and have like a lot of drinks to
okay.
do like sales and closing deals, something like that. Yeah.
All right. Nice.
Hmm.
And okay, cool. The next thing is very interesting. And the reason why I put it, because when I was interpreting in business or for governments, I noticed that in some cultures, it's very obligatory, or like it's a considered good manner to bring a gift. So the question is empty hands. And first part is, if you go to a friend's house or meeting, is it okay to go with empty hands? And in my country, even if you go to friends, it's like natural that you're gonna bring something. Even if it's the most rich person you know, you gotta bring something. You can make a food, you can make anything. It doesn't have to be expensive, but you cannot show up with empty hands. You can write a nice note if you're super poor and broke for Christmas, for example. But normally, if you are unable to bring anything, it's kind of considered okay to let know your host and say you still want me to visit you. Having in mind, I was in very poor background, and I was the person who normally didn't have nothing to bring when I was younger. And I would ask my friends, is it okay to still come? And they would be like, yeah, absolutely. We love you and we want you here. In business instead, okay, it's not acceptable to buy expensive gift like jewelry or whatsoever between male and female. This is considered not professional, but it's considered professional and polite to bring a small gift. It could be chocolate, anything that is luxury and is affordable and is classy but is not over expensive is considered normal and is considered must, like. And if you want to have a good business relationships, is considered that you start your communication with a small gift. Maybe if you're from a particular area, you're going to bring specific, like meat or food or wine or something very very typical, you know.
Hmm. Well, in Thailand, people don't really bring gift unless it's like special occasion, like a New Year party or if it's your birthday. Food is more like general, but it's kind of reverse, right? Like you don't really bring food to someone's house unless it's prearranged. But like if you're like the person, the house owner kind of give you food or something like that, you know. And for business, it is fine to give gifts of any value. I remember I went to work a little bit with my aunt. She's a general manager for like a mall, and
Mhm.
for like I don't remember what it is. It's maybe a wedding. I think it's a wedding or something like that. And her company gave like the client this expensive watch. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, for weddings in my country is also considered to give a big gift is kind of normal and it's kind of must. Otherwise, shame on you why you went
Yeah,
to wedding if you didn't bring a gift. This is also no. You know what? Also in my country, I was just thinking that, for example, if I offer somebody food and I bring it on a plate, sometimes I make food and it's normal. I bring to my neighbor, which is kind of cultural thing.
yeah.
And if my neighbor take the food, it's kind of normal them to give me back the plate with something else, not because I need to, because it's kind of
Yeah.
normal and kind of polite, and I think this is kind of pleasant.
Oh, there's actually one more thing. We call it like krachao. It's like a basket in Thailand. I don't know if in America you have this or not. It's just like a lot of fruit in a basket, or it's just something, right? Like something nice is mostly edible,
Hmm.
and you give that to people, like your client, if they're like sick, got into hospital, you know, got into car accident or
Yes, like
kind of thing.
to
Yeah.
make them recover, like fruits, like same in my country, and not only, but there is also this special celebration now in
Really.
springtime. It's called the celebration of the spirits. You go to your neighbors and you bring them the most tasty thing you can find for the people that you lost,
Yeah.
like grandma died, and you. There is also this tradition, which is very interesting. We get a little bit out of the thematic, but this is also very, very fascinating, I
Yeah.
believe.
See, like this is what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Or just like products, like like
Yeah,
use
nice
this,
thing.
something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
gifts with stuff, with useful
Mhm.
for home stuff. No, in my country, it's more about food. This is more when you go to visit somebody for their
Yeah.
birthday or something to give gifts like that. The next one is called shaking hands. And the reason why I included is because about 10 years ago, I was interpreting for this trade fair in Italy, in town called Rimini, and they didn't shake my hand, and that hurt me deeply, deeply, deeply. And I sit behind and I study it, and I find out that in some countries, in some cultures, it's not appropriate for shaking hands with females. So this question is going to be like that: how we greet our friends. In my country, for example, you kiss in the mouth like this, and you also hug your friends for quite a long time, and this is considered very normal. Even if your friend is married, he will do it the same in front of his wife. So this is considered when you really love someone and when you're really tight, and you can see women's kisses like this, and you can see guys and girls kissing. And this doesn't mean that they are in intimate relationship, but this just express their love and friendship like that. In Italy, they kiss on the cheeks. I don't know if you know, always for hi and for bye, which is very beautiful, I believe. You get affection all day long if you walk. This is beautiful. Here, nobody hug you, nobody kiss you. In Italy, you
Yeah.
get it all for free, honey. So, in a business meetings instead, no kissing is considered okay. Nothing like that, not even hugging, not even tapping. You have to shake hands, and you cannot be flaky. You gotta shake it like vividly. And it's considered you shake hands two men's and women's, and of course, ladies first. It's considered rude if a guy shake hands and there is a lady waiting there. So it's kind of always lady first, being a gentleman. You shake the lady first, even the interpreter. They put her to sit in the chair, they order her a coffee, whatever she wants, and then the other gentlemen will sit around and make just be a gentleman. So how about shaking hands in your country?
Well, in Thai there's two different things. It's called why, which is you do like this to people. You do that,
Beautiful.
yeah. Basically, you do that for people who's older than you, like
Mhm.
elderly, your boss, teacher, your parents, monk, and actually the different position which I don't remember, so I'm not gonna get into.
No, I have
But yeah,
studied when I was in the monk place, and I basically it's like that, and you look like this, so
yeah.
to show your respect toward
Like
them.
if you receive them, you do like this. If you use someone older than you, you do like this. If it's the monk, you do like this, or something like that, right? And yeah, but
Can I
if
ask another question?
yeah,
Sorry. Because I remember I saw some of the people will give this special reverence to the monk. They will touch the feet. Is that also something that happened in your culture? If you have a high respect towards someone, you're gonna go down and basically touch the feet. Is that something that
um,
you experience that exists there?
well, like you do that to like I mean, it's kind of like traditional, like royalty, maybe in like the old time.
Okay.
You do that to, I don't think you do that to a monk necessarily, but you do that to like a statue of a monk,
Okay.
or you do that to your parents.
Highly respectful gestures,
Yeah, or your
basically.
not t-shirt, just parent like your mom or your dad. Not every day, more like on Mother Day,
Special
or
occasions,
yeah,
yeah.
or like when you graduate. Like in Thailand, there's a picture of that. We don't hug or we don't shake hand in Thailand.
Uh,
Like
you
even with
know,
friends.
did your mom hug you, or this not considered?
No, like we hug like you hug and stuff. It's just not part of a greeting to hug someone.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's just hey, like that. Um, and it depends on business setting. If you do business with other people who's not Thai, then you shake their hand. If you do business with Thai people, then you do Y, which is like that. Yeah.
That's so
Mhm.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7 is called Taboo Talk. And when I say taboo, is there things that is forbidden to talk about or consider bad, or they look at you and they're like, oh, you're weird because you talk about this,
Mhm.
or something in business that you don't have to talk about. And here I'm going to say with friends, that's why we don't have therapy in Europe, because you have friends and you can talk with everyone with your problems. What are you crying for? Why are you upset? Who hurt you? What you should do? You're going to have so many people to listen to you. Instead, here in America, nobody listen to you. That's why we need therapy. Therapy is necessary here because people doesn't care for one another, but there is no limits. You can talk about intimacy, your boyfriend, your husband, what you fight with your husband for. Like, it's so normal, and there is no taboo about talking with friends. In very religious family, the word intimacy, sexual activity is absolutely taboo, is forbidden to talk about in the family, and is considered highest sin. So if you go to really restricted areas, very low register, this is very something really terrible to discuss even with your partner. Let's say your partner is sexually violent with you, you should never talk about it. You should deal with it for the rest of your life and just leave it, because if you talk about it, you're called a specific name, basically. So there is a high masculinity in the lower register, but more educated you are, these things kind of drop down. About the business, no politics. You cannot express personal preferences and opinions during a business meeting, not only as an interpreter, in general, and or even like football games, and like, oh no, this is better, no, they are worse. You cannot give like preferences or talk about things. No male female discrimination talks. There is a lot of jokes between friends that you can use. I am blonde, which means that I'm a little bit silly and not intelligent. But in business meeting, like this all sexist talks about male superiority female, it's not okay. If it's a lower business register, you can heard that, but normally in a higher register where we talk about a lot of money, educated people, this is not something that is okay to talk about it. In general, if you slow register in a business meeting, you will find people that talk about their family, their problems. My mother failed, my car broke, in a lower register. In a higher register, you ask polite question about the family, how they are, but you don't go into detail. Just say, hi, how are you? How is your family? And it's normal to respond polite, thank you, everybody is good. If it's a very long term relationship of business, they maybe know your mother had surgery and ask you, is your mother recovering? But nothing like most of this drama talks about, oh, this happened to me. Let me tell you what happened to me. This is not okay. But in a lower register people, a lot of people will just like gossip, and they will want the attention, which is very inappropriate in business field. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Mm, yeah, well, I'm trying to think. I couldn't think of a lot of things that you
There is
shouldn't
no
talk about.
taboo talk in your
Mhm.
country with friends or with
I mean,
parents or?
there's there's one I can think of. Yeah, it's really more open than America. It's really, yeah, I remember, like you said, like for some reason you feel like when you tell Americans something, it doesn't really seem like they care about it. And like I'm really excited sometimes, when like I'm in Oregon, right? Like let's say, and I tell someone, "Oh my God, you're from Oregon? Me too, right?" If in Thailand, they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, really?" And in America, they would be like, "Oh,
Okay.
cool, yeah,
They
cool,
don't
yeah,
care.
I know."
And in
And
my country will be like, oh, have you been there? Have you eaten there? Have you been
yeah,
to that place? It's gonna be like, oh, you're gonna have something to relate immediately and have a conversation about, correct?
yeah, basically, and I think the only really taboo thing and actually illegal thing to not talk about is kind of, and which is a big issue right now. It's not really politic, but about like the royal family. You're not supposed to talk bad about them or talk criticize them.
Can I ask
It's,
you a question? Is your
yeah,
country communist country talking about political regimes? I'm just curious because I didn't, because in my
yeah,
country when we were under communism, we had the same rule, and I remember the revolution and how all these
yeah,
things dropped down, and it was a big thing for
yeah.
me.
Thailand's actually never been a communist country. Um, it used to be
It's like
the
kingdom.
king like rule, right,
Uh-huh.
until the revolution, kinda, and it's changed to constitutional monarchy, which
Okay.
what England have right now. But they still have like less Manchester law, right, which say that if you criticize anyone from the royal family, you go to jail. And it's not a traditional thing like where, oh, we are law in the US, right? It's like many people have been thrown in jail for 10 year, 20 year for criticizing the royal family or translating some books that
That the
criticize,
royal family dislike or think that they're bad or they don't they want to
yeah,
abolish them, or yeah, the same in my country, by the way, even though it was communist, now we're democracy, but we have experienced something similar. That's very interesting.
that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, what about in lesson business, talking about everything is normal? Like, do you have some kind of a it's called elevator speech greeting or something? Hi, how are you? Or you don't ask about family in business. It's just strict to business, go away. How the business meeting?
I mean, it really depends on who you talk to too, but in Thai, it's kind of very formalized. In business, you're supposed to like talk business and not talk a lot about other things. But then again, at the end of the day, it really depends on who you are doing business at, right? But like
So normally we're
standard way,
strictly business,
yeah,
correct? Yeah,
strictly,
I just want to know about the norms. Of course, I know, as I said, in the lower register, you can see this very weird thing,
yeah.
which they will take a coffee and lunch and dinner and want to come with you to drive you to the home and whatsoever, which is going to be a little bit way too much for you. And the last part is called domination, or like cool type of belief behavior. And the reason why I put that is there is some cultural things in here. uh, is there something that is considered cool? For example, in my country with friends, is considered um, cool to be loud, to laugh loud, to be center of attention, to drag attention, offer to pay, show yourself, show off, and all these kind of things. And there is a lot of bully behavior in nest inside of this coolness, unfortunately, which you could see pretty often. And they don't even know what a bully is in my country because this is so normal. This is considered cool. Brag about your Nike shoes or something dumb like that. So this is what is considered cool, instead of in a business meeting. mm, there is this etiquette or something that called like a power game on the table, which mean that if you move your, for example, if you move your glass toward the space of the other speaker, it's like you want to show that you're dominating over him, and it's going to be whatever you say. So there is these little gestures that you do. If you set whom to sit where, for example, is also mean that the game or the business will go by your rules. It doesn't matter in which country you are in Eastern Europe, but there's these small gestures that people do. I have seen also this in Italy, to order someone to bring something, or bring him a coffee without even asking the person what they want, bring him also a cup of water, please. So there is also kind of making you feel hospital, but also to show you that the rules is gonna be mine because you're in my territory, or because I'm more powerful and I can allow myself to do this. Talking about the power etiquette in business also is asking questions during presentation. For example, in my country, the dominant, let's say I am a buyer and I'm visiting a place where I want to do business with someone, it's normal for the dominant person to ask a question. So it's not okay to interrupt and being rude, but it's okay to ask a question for detail, for business, for retail, even though they don't discuss business to business prices, talking about like a strict business meeting, it's okay to ask questions, but it's not okay for ladies to interrupt and ask questions unless it's a very, very rich and very powerful person that have dynasty of male figures around her, and she can permit herself to ask a question and interrupt a speaker. Interrupting is never considered polite. So is there any kind of um, cool behavior or something considered that, oh, this person is powerful or something like that in your culture, talking in a business and
Yeah. I mean, in personal, I mean, like, I guess if you talk about just like school kids' behavior, maybe like, oh, if you have cool motorcycle or something like that, right? But for the most part, it's like money, right? The more money you have, the cooler you are, kind of thing, you know.
yeah.
Like, Thailand is a lot about social classes, or I don't know, something like that, you know, like, if, are you poor? Is your family rich? Who are you? Something like that.
Uh-huh.
And in business setting, there's not a lot of thing, that I can think of, but do you know like how in America they have like this thing how if you do business email and if you sound a certain way in email, it mean like, you know how like it's like business language. You try to say something
Yes.
like, oh, as per my last email, I'm attaching this to you for your convenience, which mean
Yes.
like, oh, how about you go look at it yourself, but like you can't say that in business. In Thailand, like people do that, but instead of emailing, like actually talking in person, right? Like you would try to say things nicely, but the meaning behind it's not so nice. Even though like both of you know it's not really nice, but you still like try to like say it nicely
Show
in a
that
way.
you
Yeah,
mess up with something basically in business. No, we
yeah,
have a specific slang to express. It's like
uh-huh.
official form which doesn't exist in English, unfortunately. In English, we use you or sir or madam,
Hmm.
but in my language, in Bulgarian, everything changes. The way I would address you, sir, ma'am, or madam, it have official form in which, by the tone, I'm showing you that I'm very serious about whatever I'm talking, which is
Yeah.
strictly formal way of expression. And yes, there is something that exists like that in my country, but it's to show again power and domination. That's something else. What about any kind of a gestures on a business meeting or something like? Do you have anything in mind, or is there something like you have to listen to older people, or how to agree with them, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess Thailand is like and like many Asian country, right? Thailand is respect the elderly, right? And that's also include your boss. So most of the time, what your boss say, or what older, more
Person
senior people
says
say
have
is
right.
correct. Yeah. So you should not argue with them if they say this is correct, even though it's not. You know?
Even
Yeah.
if they mess up in maths and it's wrong results, you have to agree. The same in my country,
Yeah.
especially in older times. Now with the new age business and more like emancipation and internet
Hmm.
and higher education and all the people that travel around being part of European community, this thing has changed. But yes, for example, you cannot say no to your parents, or you cannot disagree, or not be okay with something that
Yeah.
older persons say, because older, it's obligatory have to mean that they know better. And for example, even in a business, sometimes if you go to this company where older people are in charge, they very often will use this old ways of doing things, longer time consuming, and this is gonna make it dysfunctional, because now new age you can do things faster, and it's very difficult if you have like somebody working there for 20 years or 10 years to unlearn them to do something and make them do it from the beginning. Talking about this parenting hierarchy, or adult people have right always compared to younger, but this has changed in my country, I have to say.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that was very interesting chat, William. That was beautiful. Thank you for being here again, guys. If you need a Thai interpreter, this is William. He just started his career, and I am pretty sure he will have a brilliant future. So if you do need experienced or not so experienced or very dedicated Thai interpreter, you're gonna find it on the description box below. And if you don't want to take part of my YouTube channel and be part of these videos, please write me a comment below. Thank you for being here. Do you want to say something for goodbye, William?
Well, no, just thank you very much
I
for
want
having
to
me
learn
here.
one word in Thai. How is thank you in Thai? Because we want to honor your culture.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. So for women, you said ka. It's like polite ending, right? So it will
Ka,
be ขอบคุณค่ะ
kap, kun ka.
Yeah, like ขอบคุณค่ะ Yeah, ขอบคุณครับ for men. Yeah, I would
And
say
for
that because
males,
ขอบคุณครับ.
kap.
Yeah.
Okay. Kap, kup, kap. Thank you for being here, guys. I know I am terrible at it, but it's my first time to even pronounce a word. And I think there is the two words that I always learn in every language. The first one is thank you, and how is I am sorry.
ขอโทษ
Hanot,
No, it's like K ขอ and like a T โทษ ขอโทษ.
kato.
Uh,
Okay,
yeah,
so
it's
we
hard.
learned
I have a lot of tones.
two
Yeah,
words which is very difficult.
yeah,
Kato, something like this.
yeah. It's like yeah, it's like KO ขอโทษ.
Katot.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, this is I'm sorry for my terrible
Uh-huh.
pronunciation, guys. You see how difficult Thai is. So said that, thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. And if you do need a Thai interpreter, I will leave the information of William. You can give him a business offer if you like to. Thank you for being here and have a good day. Bye-bye.